Hi everyone, I'm Helen Harrison, Louisville Art Association President. Welcome to our live broadcast of our member meeting. Feel free to make comments as we go along. I'll display some of them, but we do have a lot happening, so we don't want to junk up the screen too much. We'll be back to in-person meetings in August, and won't that be nice? We're looking forward to it tremendously. It's been a rough year, so hang in there. We only have a few more of these, although I will try to broadcast in person, do a live broadcast from our in-person meetings as well. In the broadcast, we'll be filling you in on upcoming workshops, shows, and other news. I do want to mention that we are forming a board nominating committee for the vacancies that'll happen at the end of the year. We do have a turnover, roughly half the board every year. So if you're interested in serving on the committee or in being on the board, we welcome you. Just let one of the board members know, and we'll get things set up for you. Now, I'm going to introduce Lynn Sarkis, who is our Vice President, and she's going to share some information with you. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Helen. Hi, everyone. This is
All right.
brand new, and so
yeah, I know this is interesting. Doing this little interview. So thank you for doing it. It's great. We're doing this live, and I'm just trusting that we actually are being broadcast as we thought we were. So hopefully this is all happening well, and I'm going to turn it over to you now to do your announcements.
Okay, well, as I said, this is interesting, so forgive me if I stumble or make any mistakes, but I need to put out a few reminders. We still need volunteers for the National Photography Show. This is a great way for those who participate in the in public places to tick off those volunteer hours. And we really need you, so please volunteer. And if you've been joined into the show, this is a great chance for you to volunteer to direct people to your pictures and maybe get some more clientele. Also, it gives a chance for everyone who's not been able to socialize in the past year or so, a chance to brush up on the social skills again. I know I could use some touch up on that, so I'm hoping to see you at the show, and make sure to invite friends and family and let people know that they should come and enjoy the photography show. The other thing is our National Fine Arts Show is coming up, and it's going to be over the Labor Day weekend at the end of summer. So that will be going full bore. We'll have a reception and everything, just like a normal regular show. So please let people know that they should try to enter. It is a juried show. You can enter through Cafe, and you can find the prospectus and a link to enter the show on our website. Also, the deadline for entry is July 16th, so mark your calendars and please try to participate in the show. It's a good experience. Even if you don't get in, you can brush up on entering shows. Then we have the theme show coming up. Now, the theme show committee will have a little video for you, giving you all the details. They've done a wonderful job, and really looking forward to this year's theme show. It's going to be at East Simpson Coffee House Company in Lafayette, and the deadline for entry is June the 20th, and the committee has done a wonderful job, and you'll hear more about that show later in our program. Then the only other thing left is we still need co-chairs for the fall member show. Um, Claire Dixon has agreed to be co-chair, but we need a couple more people, at least one. Two or three makes it even better. Um, More people to spread the work around, and it just makes it a nice event, not to have to do everything yourself or even split it between two people. I will be there to help anybody who volunteers, so I'll give guidance. We do have a judge, Lisa Rivard, has agreed to judge the show, and that's going to be in November. So please contact me if you have interest in joining our little merry band of people that chair shows. Okay, that's about it for me, and hopefully Helen will come back soon.
I'm coming back just to say, if you have anything else, thank you for popping on here and for all the work you do. I don't know if you guys know, but Lynn isn't just a vice president, she's a jack of all trades. So thank you. Thank you. I'm going to move
Okay,
on now.
thanks.
Thanks, Lynn, and I'll let you go.
Okay,
Take care.
okay, bye.
Bye. I just want to introduce Chris Nagy. He's going to do the voiceover on this video, but I want you to know that he is a new member who hopped in and became a member so he could chair the National Photography Show. Rich Saxon and Kirk Fry are also instrumental in running the show. Thank you very much, guys. You're doing a fabulous job. Remind you again, we need volunteers. And here's Chris.
Are you a photographer or just like looking at beautiful art? Well, come to the National Photography Show in Louisville, Colorado. This is the 2021 National Juried Photo Competition and sale, so if you like what you see, you can actually buy it. The show is May 28th through June 6th, and the show is either virtual, again online, or you can do it in person. If you come in person, we will abide by the public health guidelines, keep social distancing, and more than likely have to wear a mask. But at least you're out and get to see some beautiful artwork hanging on the wall in person, and it pops off the page. Amazing images is what you're going to find. There are over 100 images for your viewing pleasure from 650 entries from around the country. So we've got a really good selection. If you want to learn more about the show, go to louisvilleart.org and you can learn more about the show, the judge, the show schedule, and if you want to get involved. And one thing for sure you want to do is go to the show gallery and vote for your favorite. It's called the People's Choice Award. Hit that button right down there that says vote. So we hope to see you there, and thanks so much for sponsoring and supporting us at the National Photography Show.
Hi guys, I'm back again. We're going to introduce you to Jane Alvins, Ani Liggett, Kim Roller, Camilla Pratt, and Sandy Price, who are behind the camera, or is behind the camera, and they're going to tell you a little bit about the theme show that's coming up this summer.
Hey, we are here at 201 East Simpson Street, the future new home of the East Simpson Coffee Company. They are presently just down the street, but this will be their new home coming up very soon, hopefully beginning of June. These ladies are here today to tell you about the Louisville Art Association theme show.
Hi LAA members, I'm Jane Elvins, and I want to tell you a little bit about the theme show along with my three fellow planners here. We are holding the show here at East Simpson Coffee Company its new home, which is a historic, beautiful old building built in 1907. We encourage all LAA members to enter the show, and non-members, you can enter too. Just join LAA. We need you. We're going to I'm going to let Kim take over to talk more about the details of the show.
Hi, I'm Kim Roller, and this is a non-juried show, so there's no it's a non-juried show. And also, we are not having a judge, but there will be a People's Choice Award, or 5 People's Choice Awards, 1st through 5th place. The entries, we're looking for entries in 2D and 3D categories. The 2D categories are, of course, painting in all mediums and mixed medium, and drawing and photography. And the 3D mediums are sculpture, just not super large, and we are not accepting jewelry. So the sizes that you may submit, if you're submitting 2 paintings or 2 2D arts, you need to keep it under 24 by 24 inches, not including the frame. And if you're submitting 1, it can be larger than that, but no larger than 30 by 40. For the registration deadline is June 20th, and you can go to louisvilleart.org for more details.
Can I take the mic back for just a minute? I just remembered what I was trying to think of. The theme of the show. The theme is emergence, and that can be interpreted in a number of different ways. We'll leave it up to you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ani Liggett, and I'm happy to announce that we're going to have a reception here at this beautiful venue on July 9th from 4 to 7 p.m. It will be an outdoor reception, and we have plenty of space and a lovely covered porch in which to have our reception. So please invite your friends and come by and join us. Thanks.
Thank you, Theme Show Committee. Really appreciate you. And now let's go on to learning a little bit more on our upcoming workshops. Here we go. I'm taking you over to our website so you can see the workshops that are coming up. The first workshop we have coming up is on May 22nd, Creating Beautiful Collages. And that is going to be a fabulous workshop. It's on Zoom. We are set to go back to in-person workshops starting in July, but we are right now just doing the Zoom, and we'll be working on trying to do more hybrid workshops so that people can still attend even if they're housebound. So Beautiful Collages, that's the next upcoming workshop. And then Abstract Florals with Robin Cole on June 19th. We're working on fixing our website up a little bit, so it's kind of in the middle of changing, but here's Abstract Florals. To register, you'll click the Register tab, and where it says Register here, you'll just click Go. I won't do that right now, and I'll just point out that right now, we only have tabs here, so you'll click Register for Creating Beautiful Collages. By the way, Robin is doing our demo today. And then I'll just scroll down and give you a brief look at the other upcoming workshops. July 24th, Venetian Plaster Surface Prepping and Painting with Tabitha Benedict. She's going to be great. She's a new instructor for us. Then August 28th, all-day plein air with Jeannie Hogan. We all know Jeannie, and that's going to be a really wonderful class. I think you'll enjoy it. That'll be in person, of course. October 9th, actually, I think that date has changed, so we'll check that schedule. I think it's the following week instead. But macro photography with Kirk Fry. December 4th, illustration with Lisa Rivard, and January 8th, we're getting ahead here. We've booked Lydia Potoff for pastel landscape, and that'll be an in-person workshop as well. We're going to have her demonstrate in the December meeting. So do take a look at our workshop page on louisvilleart.org and be sure to sign up before they fill up. I think you'll enjoy it. Now I'm going to just show you a little bit here about our fine arts show. Dawn wasn't able to be here, so I just want to scroll through the page. Go and look at this page on our website. It's under shows. The show is December 2nd through the 12th over Labor Day. It should be a really fun time because we're all coming out of COVID for sure by then, and we'll be having a reception, as Lynn mentioned. You can download the prospectus. You can go to Cafe to enter that show. This is a juried show. And be sure to email your questions. That will go to our show chair, who is Dawn Hendricks. I'll just scroll down and show you our judge, Sherry Farabaugh, Thornton, Colorado. This promises to be, I don't think we've had her as a judge before, so this should be a really good experience. I recommend everybody apply to this show, and we have historically had a number of our members get into the show. We have such great artists in our group, so think about signing up for that. Now I'm going to talk about our demo artist. You can read more about her on the page with the workshops. Our demo is from Julie Anna Lewis, and it's about creating beautiful collages. I'll just read a little bit from her artist bio. Julie says, I utilize my graphic design skills along with my fine art techniques to create works on canvas that can stir the soul. All of the words I put into my canvases bring about memories, fond feelings, and nostalgia. Some of the writings in my art can't be read completely, and that is intentional. I'm not putting it out there to read as a book, but to inspire one to read that book. The words are there as a design element to add energy to the piece, and perhaps it will trigger a memory for my viewer. And here's a little quote. We all love to read a wonderful story. My art is a tribute to those wonderful stories and other articles of writing and music that encourage, remind, and inspire. So now let's view the demo by Julie Anna Lewis. Thank you.
Hey there, this is Juliana Lewis, and I'm going to take you through some of my methods of how I do my work. This one behind me is Tosca by Puccini, and I had to find a method that allowed me to put music on canvas, or literature, poetry on canvas, and then I paint on top. I do more of that now, but I also have done it where I've painted first and then put the literature on top of the painting, and that's called a photo transfer. I didn't invent it, I just discovered how it works for me, and so I'm going to show you that today too. And hope we will have some fun. I'm going to give you a little zoom in on Tosca. So it starts out as a music sheet, of course, and as the character develops, so does she. So I paint on top of what the music is. I don't paint all that music. I can't. It would be impossible. But she is all painted, and so is the lace. That's all just paint. Just very thick textured paint. All right, so I add tears and crinkles. I'll show you a little before too of how it starts, how it looked before I tea stained it, because everything I use is old. So I like to show that it's an old piece of music, literature. So you have that sepia look to it. That's on purpose, of course. And this is Tosca. Hello, this is Juliana Lewis, and I want to show you how I learned how Michelle Kaplan does her collages. I loved how she had things that overlapped on top of faces, and it almost looks like Photoshop, but it's actually collage. And I'm going to show you how I went through this Edgar Allan Poe dedication on a 12 by 12 board. I think that you'll enjoy some of the techniques that I've come up with and actually use it in my large size pieces. So please join me. Starting out, we're going to gesso a 12 by 12 board. Board works best. I'll explain that later, you'll see. And I did some planning ahead. Please use laser prints only. Do not use inkjet. That's not going to work. You could probably use some newsprint, but I don't do a lot of that, so I can't recommend. I simply use everything is with laser. The reason is it's not water soluble. Inkjet is, so your colors are going to run. Laser doesn't, and it has nice dense color. The blacks are very black, and even the color lasers work fine. So cover your surface completely with Mod Podge or any sort of acrylic polymer, like Liquid has a liquid matte medium. There's several things out there, but I like Mod Podge. It works great with paper, and that's what it's meant to do. So I've planned ahead a little bit. I know this is going to fit, so I did this print. I've Mod Podge. I only did the board. I didn't Mod Podge the other side. That's fine. I squeegee out all of the Mod Podge, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because when it dries, it does dry pretty nicely flat. I don't put Mod Podge on the top yet. I sandpaper with a block, and see how cleanly that just comes off. That's just something I've discovered over time. So get that all just perfectly, and reinforce any of the edges like this with the Mod Podge underneath, and get it all cleaned up and squeegeed. And by the way, this is in a lot of my video here is in fast forward, so I don't work that fast. But you can think of it as I do. Some of them are really fast. So anyway, sorry, I like to joke around. All right, so then I seal it on top with a coat of Mod Podge and let that dry completely, because it got the paper wet, and if you rub on something the paper that's wet, it's just going to start peeling up, so we don't want that. So how long? I don't know. You might have to give that a good half hour or so. You can also help it along with a heat gun or a blow dryer. That's fine. Whatever it takes, just to get that dry to the touch. All right, so that's my Mod Podge, and it's drying. So now once it's dried, I want to just add some color to it. So I'm going to take some translucent paints. And so I have a couple different brands here. I'm just putting water down with this translucent Nova color. It's like a watercolor. You could probably even use watercolors, but I just want to get some color in there and move that around the piece. This is probably sky, at least that's how I'm imagining it. Now I noticed that the Kaplan's art, Michelle Kaplan doesn't really put a whole lot of color in hers, so don't feel like you have to. You know, she kind of uses that antique look, but you know, to me, I just wanted to have a little color in here. So I just work this around, darkening some of the edges as I move, especially like once I've got this kind of down here. I'm just going to get a paper towel and clean up, you know, just some areas, get it irregular, get some of those paint strokes out. But if you like the paint strokes, that's good too. It's not a big deal. And I'm just adding a little bit more of a framework in the blue on the edges all around. Now this would be really great if you wanted to do a dedication to, say, your late grandma, or you know, maybe it's a wedding collage and you have, you know, wedding pictures and the invitation. Like, again, don't use the original. Just get a laser copy of anything you use, because if you ruined it on here and it was your own copy, that would just be such a shame. So get laser copies of everything you need, and if it has text or type, it needs to be in reverse for some of these techniques, and you'll see. But this one with the boat, that didn't matter. That was just done straight. I didn't need to reverse it. There was no need. There's no text on it or anything you need. Oh, I guess it does say at the bottom there, 1850, but this is actually something of when Edgar Allan Poe, that's one of the editor's magazine, I think, covers. That's where I got it from. So I try to keep my art authentic. That has a lot of meaning. You know, this isn't just something random, but, you know, Edgar Allan Poe's time frame of what was being printed at that time. So here's my print of Edgar Allan Poe. I found it online. All of this I found online. I had it printed, and then I'm going to cut it out. So here's technique number 2. Is simply cutting out your image. So the first technique you saw is I just laid down the paper and just, you know, put that in, glued that on, sorry. And then this one I'm going to actually cut on top, paste on top, Edgar Allan Poe. And he had kind of messy hair, so I'm just cutting out all those little pieces. And I've noted that if I can get the blade to, my X-Acto blade, if I can get it to, I'll try and pull it away from me when I cut. I hope that makes sense. I'm not doing it the whole time here, but I do find I get a cleaner cut if I can pull it away from me. So you'll see I move the piece around just to whatever's comfortable. So I'm cutting this out, and I actually cut slightly on the inside of it. So I hope that made sense, but I don't want any white lines, so I actually cut just a hair inside of where I want him to be cut out. And he's light in color. I mean, I could have made his shirt or his jacket so black by just, you know, upping the contrast, but I wanted to see the buttons and the shadows and the collar. So I just kind of like the way it is. It's a little bit muted. It's fine, because then when I put that poetry up on top of it, you'll see that you'll be able to read it a little bit better. Not that I really need it to be like perfectly readable, and don't feel like you have to. If it's just a little piece of the memory, like you know, like I said, the wedding invitation or the recipe or whatever, it doesn't have to be all of it, unless that's what you want. That's up to you, but certainly isn't that a big a deal. Now, because he's kind of like a different shape, ooh, I got some stuff on there. Because he's a different shape, I wanted to put Mod Podge on the back, and that works just fine. So I put some Mod Podge on the back, nice amount. This is in fast forward, but I do recommend working fast. You just want to do it before it dries, especially in Colorado here. Everything dries so fast. And sorry that's a little bit out of the picture of the frame, but anyway, you know the drill. Just get him all covered up, nice amount all over. Get any, especially those edges. It seems like I can never get Mod Podge everywhere. So get that in there, like that. And then, and then with your finger, just squeeze out some of those little bubbles and, you know, extra Mod Podge all over there like that. So everything's laying down really nice, especially all those little tiny hair pieces. You want to do that. Alright, now he's fully dried. I'm going to add a little color. So I've got two translucent paints. They're acrylic. One's by Golden, one's by Nova Color. If you don't know about Nova Color, it's a nice, inexpensive equivalent maybe to Golden. It doesn't have near the amount of variety of different product, but they got some really nice colors, and I recommend too. They come in quart size, pint size, and I think 4 ounce. Get the 4 ounce or the pint. If you did a quart, it's fine. If you use a lot of paint, it's really great for lots of paint. If you're creating tons of texture, like say it's a huge piece and I want lots of texture, Nova's great in the larger sizes, but you know, you just can't use that much paint and it tends to dry out. So I recommend the smaller amounts. And then of course I love Golden. And this is a translucent. So you can use watercolor, you can use just something that's translucent enough. I'm doing it almost just like coloring in a coloring book. You know, coloring in the lines of this little drawing. Filling it in, I want the greens. I got the light green going. You can see I put down the dark green. I'll eventually use that for the shadows. So put on some music, enjoy filling that in. You don't have to do anything exactly like this, but if you had it and wanted to add some more color, this would be a good place to do that. Alright, so I'm just filling all this in. A couple things I would maybe mention about my art is that I wanted to figure out how to get text or music up on top of something I already painted. So I've done every direction, but I've painted the person first and then put the music on top, or in some cases it was a horse I did, and then put the text on top. Sometimes I did the opposite. I laid the text down and then I painted the horse on top. I've done both. I've done combinations. So just, you know, doing whatever works. But there's lots of layers going on. There's just, you know, trial and error, just trying to see what I like. And that's how I came across all these different techniques. You know, you can use tissue. I actually brought some, and here I'm just going to add a little bit of flower color in there. I think I'm going to make those little flowers pop a little bit more, so filling it in like a coloring book. But I've also brought tissue paper to the print center or ran it through my laser printer. So I just cut it out to letter size, 8.5 by 11, and then printed that, whatever it was I wanted on it, and then Mod Podge it, and that worked fine too. It's a little more cloudy. It's not a perfect clarity through what's at the bottom, but it can create a really nice effect, and you can even crinkle that tissue a little bit to add some texture. So, you know, just having fun with your collage is important. And you can add as many things as you want. Everything I am showing you today is just paper or flat things, you know, or paint. But you could probably put, I don't know, a penny on there or a little trinket or something you just want to glue down. Could probably use some maybe acrylic gel. That stuff kind of dries pretty thick and clear. You know, we certainly could do things like glitter or rhinestones, or, you know, it just depends on your subject matter, but don't feel limited to paint and paper. You can do a lot more and create a little more dimension and 3D effect to it, and that's fine. Totally up to you. I think in the end, so here I'm using a heat gun just to get that dry. And then some of my little flowers I added in there weren't really there, so I'm just kind of adding a little fill of flowers with a pencil. And then, or maybe, I think I add an ink a little bit later. Okay, so here is Edgar Allan Poe's signature. I had it in reverse, printed. I found it online. I wanted his signature in this piece. So I'm just cutting around some of the extra. You don't want it too small, because if you got Mod Podge, so this technique is, I think they call it photo transfer, at least I've heard it referred to that. But it doesn't have to be a photo. So here's the signature. It could be text. We're going to do that later. I'm going to do this technique twice in this project. So I'm just trying to figure out, where do I want his signature? And I found a place up here. I did plan it. I had a bit. I actually thought I was going to put it right above him, but I think it's going to look better here over there on the right. So anyway, I just kind of put a little guide on there to see, well, where do I want to put it? And I take my Mod Podge. Oh gosh, if I had $1 for every time I've said that today. And I had glued that down as we'd done, just like with his face. I wait till it's dry. It's totally dry now. So it's been a good, 15-20 minutes. And I spray the bottom. So I've pushed out all the medium just like I had in the past, when I painted him, put him down. The difference is, and I had put a coating of Mod Podge over the top of him. That's to seal him and protect him from when I'm doing this. So I only put Mod Podge on the bottom and not on top. And so then when it's fully dry, I just spray it with some water and the pulp starts coming off, but the laser remains. It's just such a cool effect. It's just great. Works great. This one worked really great too. I've actually done huge pieces. And this is why board is so much more helpful, because if I were pushing down with canvas, it just starts wearing on the canvas, could create some dents. So that's why I like the board. But yeah, I've actually done, I think it was a 4x5 piece of a horse that had all this print on it, and I did this technique over the whole thing. So I don't do that as much anymore, but sometimes it's necessary. It's the only way I can get something over the top of something else, kind of as I move along. So in this one, that didn't take long, and I got that all cleaned up, and it dries clear. If I were to wait and let it dry, there would have been a little pulp left, so you can do that just to get just everything off. But it takes quite a bit of abuse when I'm rubbing it, and it doesn't ruin it. As long as you did a nice job of squeegeeing everything, all the liquid out of it when you put the medium down, because if there were a bubble, well, that's just going to pop up. So it takes a little practice. Your first time might not work great, who knows. But it is such a fun technique. Even a little bit of washcloth that's wet, that kind of helps get some of that pulp off too. So here I'm just cleaning that up, getting as much pulp off as I see. And then if I feel like it looks like it's all ready, like all the pulp is off, then I'll seal it with Mod Podge. I do that, but just because it keeps it then saturated, and I don't see any pulp if there's any pulp left. And later in this video I'll show there's a little pulp on his hair that when I put down the poem, but it dries clear. So it just it's just a really cool technique. So here I'm just sealing this up. And then gonna let that dry. Let me show you a little bit of a close-up here when I'm done. You'll see how nice it turned out. What's this here? I'm just kind of zooming in. Yeah, it just turned out really nice. So let's say I had something, else underneath that, I really needed it to be over the top. It would have worked great. So here's totally dry, and I've got my poem printed in reverse that I want to figure out where I want to put on him. And if you'll see, I did kind of put a little bit of tinting on his jacket. But it has to be laser, it has to be in reverse for this technique again. just like his signature. I'm going to go real fast through this. I apply that all over and I position it face down, just like I did his signature. Let that dry. And I just kind of tore around the edges that didn't have anything. And here I just spray it with some of the water and get it started, and it just starts peeling up then. So it could take a few minutes. Like I said, this is in fast forward. You can see that poem start to come through. So I look at this as the way to do these things is just like Photoshop. Some of you might know Photoshop and how you can lay text over the top, or there's other applications you were able to do. I mean, this is a way we can do it right here in our art. I imagine you could do, well, anything you want. Like, let's say you wanted always to have like kind of a, oh, I don't know, your signature or something. You could probably do it that way too, with your signature, if you always wanted your signature in like a typeface or something. I don't know, just thinking of different ways to use it. His poem is actually his handwriting, so there's some splotches. It wasn't perfect. What I did is I found it on Google and Wikipedia Commons, and I just cleaned it up and just made sure that it printed cleanly. So there's a little bit of that you have to prepare for and think about. You see at the bottom there, I'm cleaning this up. I got most of the pulp off. That towel really does help. But see at the bottom there, it's just kind of got some Mod Podge. It's really thick. That's going to dry clear, and you'll see that in a minute, so don't worry too much. So I'm getting all of that off. That pulp just keeps coming. I wanted a faded look, so I scrubbed a little extra on his face so his face would come through. There's that thick area down there at the bottom. It'll dry clear. Okay, so now I am adding another layer of the medium just to seal him. And as you'll see, I will add quite a few layers. Just want to clean him up a little bit. Okay, let that dry. Okay, I want to put some flowers or something over him now. So we have things behind him. Let's add some interest. So I have these stencils, and I had that on our supply list. To add some sort of element on top. Why not roses or flowers? It was pretty. I like these. I like the size. Something bigger than the other ones. So this is just acrylic. Found a color mix I like. And I'm just using a sponge and dabbing it on. And I'm not filling in every area. And I kind of like that maybe distressed look. There we go. I did spray some adhesive, just some spray adhesive on the back of my stencil so it would sit still. So I did a little bit on top here. I washed the stencil in between time on that first one. Okay, so here's our overlay of some flowers. And I want to add just maybe, I don't know, some purple mixed up here. Just add some lines and veins and things on the flower and the petals, leaves. So if we were doing a memory piece, his handwriting on top of his face could be handwriting you know, of a recipe or a letter or a note, or by a loved one's own hand that you can put on top of their face to add interest to your collage, or add a personal touch. So I like that so much. And maybe their favorite flower. You know, it doesn't even have to be that. It's just simply flowers. It's just something. Oh, so you can just add more elements, more dimension, more layers. Helps the composition. It's not so straightforward. So here's a little purple. I think this is looking cute. I like it. I want to mix up some darks too. This isn't, I mean, actually I kind of like it, but I think I'm going to do some darker colors as well. I'm making this up as I go along. I had a little bit of a plan. I knew I wanted his poem over his face. I knew I wanted his signature. I liked the illustration from the magazine cover from his past, you know, and that was the same one that I think this poem came from. I get a lot of my, I find things online, but the best place is, you know, not to infringe on someone's copyright. These are old, so those copyrights are gone, but, let's see, oh, and I wanted to paint the sides here. So Wikipedia, I think it's called Wiki Commons. Those are things in the public domain, so you're not stealing anything from anyone that's, you know, not right to do. Alright, so here's a little zoom in. Got some of the different colors going on. I painted the edge. I even went a little bit over, so I have a little bit of a line. I kind of like doing that so that it almost frames in the work if you were looking at it straight on. Alright, well, I really like the way this turned out. So there is our Edgar Allan Poe piece. I hope you've enjoyed your time spent doing our tribute to a memory, and I look forward to any comments or questions you have. Please Google me and email me. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much.
And that was our lovely demonstration by Juliana Lewis. Remember to sign up for her workshop. If you're interested, it'll be a Zoom workshop, and I imagine after seeing this, it'll probably fill up pretty quick. So thank you, Juliana. Look forward to seeing your workshop. Thank you for joining us. If you need more information about our organization, visit our website at louisvilleart.org. We're always looking for new people to join and new people to meet, so consider joining up. There's lots of benefits to being an actual member, including discounts on workshops and being able to enter the members' shows. Thanks. See you next time.